This is a middle-aged male, a one-eyed patient who was referred from elsewhere about 2 months post-surgery. Obviously, the referring doctor had a problem on the table. As you can see, there is a large PC rupture and the pupil is slightly updrawn. So there must be vitreous incarcerated. In fact, there is vitreous incarcerated into the wound, and there is also vitreous inferiorly, pulling the pupil inferiorly as well. So there are many problems here. One is he is a one-eyed patient. The second, there is vitreous incarcerated in the wound and it is 2 months post-op, so it is pretty fibrotic there. And third, a large PC rupture. Fourth, there must be capsular and posterior iris adhesions which I have to separate. So taking all into consideration, I went ahead and started the surgery. So initially, I use my do some two side ports inferiorly, and one is to place my AC maintainer. So after placing this AC maintainer and turning it on, I go ahead with my vitrector with settings of about 450 to 600 cut rate, a vacuum of 100 to 150, and start eating away the vitreous first superiorly. And this will take some time because, as I said, this vitreous will be almost fibrotic across the surface of the pupil, of the iris. So I have to get under these fibers and cut them. At the same time, not damage the capsule, which is fibrotic, and not damage the sphincter as well. You can see superiorly those small sutures. I don't want to go into that area. That wound is a little suspect. And once I have done that vitrectomy, I am opening up my incision to try and cut these vitreous strands off the surface of the iris with a large angled Vanna scissors. This is important. You cannot get rid of these fibers with the vitrector. It's very difficult. And if you try too much, you may damage the sphincter, and I don't want that. So can you see I'm literally flooring my Vanna's blade across the iris surface, trying to pick up those vitreous fibers and cut them. And later on, those free fibers I deal with the vitrector. I'm also going slightly underneath, taking care not to damage neither the sphincter nor the capsular edge or the PCR edge, as I would say. This has to be done very meticulously, and also it's in the periphery, so be careful not to chew up the endothelium. When you see the pupil coming down, it's almost an indication that probably adequate vitrectomy has been done. Now with the Sinskey hook, I am trying to separate out these adhesions because I need that space to put in my IOL later. Just pulling out any of these fibrotic membranes or threads or even vitreous from the posterior surface of the iris. Don't be too aggressive. Go with the vitrector and cut those off. Having done one side, I have to also do a minimal anterior vitrectomy and also handle the vitreous inferiorly. And again the same strategy, trying to go on the floor of that iris and bring out those strands so that the pupil is released. All these vitreous strands have to be cut. If you leave them, there is every chance he will develop a CME. So once I am relatively satisfied that I have done a good enough job, I'm once again checking with my Sinskey hook, just sweeping across. You can either inject the IOL directly, but that would be a little uncontrolled. These 3-piece IOLs are very, very difficult to control. So I decided not to take any chances, and I went ahead. It will be shown later in the video. I am still trying to separate out all these additions. I plan to orient the haptics horizontally as the tear is vertical. So I need space on both those sides in the horizontal axis. And as I said earlier, I don't want to take any chances. I want to see everything. So I am putting in some iris hooks. And you can see some cortex down there. It is at almost an inaccessible area, and it is posterior to the posterior capsule. So it's basically mixed with vitreous. So I'm not planning to actually handle that. I think that will absorb slowly. Now my main aim is to inject this 3-piece IOL, very difficult to control it, be very careful how you inject it, into the sulcus. So I have got my leading haptic in there. And now I have to put in my trailing haptic. If I dial this will go vertical, so I don't want that. So I make another paracenthesis, and from the opposite side, tuck the haptic into the sulcus. Rather than dialing it, try to tuck it. It's more controlled, and it is well in place. It's well centered, and the haptics are in the sulcus, and it's time to remove the iris hooks. I then sweep with my Sinskey hook, bring down the pupil mechanically. It's pretty round. Just checking once again. It's not nice to bring back the patient later into theater again. He's already been disappointed once, so I want to do a thorough job here. Once I am satisfied that the pupil is pretty free, under very, very low infusion, I aspirate all the HPMC out with a Simcoe cannula, which is much more controlled than a bimanual or a coaxial. And I've injected my intracameral, and I'm hydrating the wound. And with the deepening of the anterior chamber, the pupil dilates as well. So I have put in some pilocarpine to help bring the pupil down. I do not want an optic capture post-op. And now it looks much better. And just to show how meticulous planning and doing things by the book can really give excellent results, even in a very complicated case. Thank you for watching the video patiently. I am concluding the surgery by giving a subconjunctival. Thank you.